Jason, tell us a little bit about how you guys met.
Yeah, Brianna and I met in we met years ago and we were friends, but 2012 we started dating after being friends for a couple of years. We started dating in September of 2012. About 3 months later, we were engaged. About 3 months after that, we were married.
Wow. Okay, no comments on that.
Yeah, we take our time.
All right, and tell us about that first year of marriage. How did everything go?
First year of marriage, had its share of ups and downs. Plenty of good in it, but also specifically, Brianna she suffered with a health condition for years, and a doctor actually worked on her January of 2013. She ended up being hospitalized for over 40 days. Pretty challenging time at that point in time. If you want to tell them a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started having problems in my early 20s where I wasn't able to keep food down for sometimes weeks at a time, and severe pain. And it took them years to finally find a diagnosis. And in 2009, University of Chicago found that I have what's called pancreatic divisum. So it's something I was born with, that the pancreatic ducts don't work the way that they're supposed to, and so I get flare-ups of pancreatitis, which is very painful. And then I also was diagnosed very early on in our marriage with polycystic ovarian syndrome and also endometriosis, which caused fertility issues.
In the midst of all of that, I didn't know any of this about it, but they've been a part of Hammond. Brianna's been on the worship team. Jason's been helping us with setup and tear down. And we're just slowly getting to know each other. And then what happened?
So we decided very early on that we wanted to have children as soon as possible. So we started trying basically as soon as we got married in 2012. And had been trying for a little over a year when I went to Mayo Clinic for the pancreatic issue, but also got a consult and was told that there was no way that I would be able to have children without a lot of help, with a lot of fertility treatments. So we began those treatments, and I did 6 months straight of fertility treatments and never once even got close to getting pregnant. Just nothing worked. So we were told at that point that I would need to have a very, very invasive and very expensive procedure done in order to even have a chance. And, it was a very small chance of getting pregnant at that point. So we decided to take time to pray about that. And I was extremely discouraged at this point. I would say borderline depressed, very, very lost. And so I began searching and asking God how he wanted to use this. Not only the infertility, but the sickness. I was in the hospital every 3 to 6 months for at least a week to 2 weeks at a time. And so God started just bringing people to the forefront of my mind that I could tell were struggling with the same things as I was, whether it was health issues or infertility, and that they were just sort of flailing. And so God just started to lead me to reach out to those people and encourage them and pray with them and walk through them with that. And I was able to bless them for sure, but it ended up being even a bigger blessing to me for sure. And then we started attending the prayer meetings that are held here at the Hack once a month on Thursday night. And so we started attending those, and the first time that we came, we were all standing around praying for a young mother of 4 who was just struggling with every day, having 4 children. And so we were praying for her, and I was involved in that. And all of a sudden, Pastor Charlie came around and placed his hands on me and started...
On your shoulder.
On my shoulder, yes. Yes.
Let's get that straight.
And started praying, asking God, to basically, if we were struggling with infertility, that he would give us hope and encouragement, and that he would give us a child. Well, I immediately started weeping because I had not told Pastor Charlie that we were struggling with infertility. In fact, I hadn't told anybody at that prayer meeting that we were struggling with infertility. And so I knew that God had placed that on his heart and was literally speaking to me and bringing me encouragement when I really, really needed it most. And then I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months after that, at another prayer meeting, his wife, Ann, was praying, and she came up to us afterwards and didn't know much of our background either, and said, I just had a picture of you two with a little one in a little red wagon, pulling your little red wagon with a baby. And another friend of mine, like a month after that, said she had a dream with me holding a little blanket, a baby in a blanket. So these were just things that kept encouraging me, that I knew that God was using these people to keep me hopeful. So.
And then, did you go back to the doctors, or?
So yes, so I went back to the doctor, and that was around early 2015, and they ran more tests, and I was told that there was no way that I could get pregnant unless I did a ton of different hormonal treatments, and they even called me postmenopausal in my early 30s. And so we said, all right, I guess we'll try that. And so we went on a family vacation, and we got back, and I was feeling awful all of a sudden. It was different symptoms than I had felt before. And so I said, all right, fine, I'll go ahead and take a pregnancy test. This is totally pointless. And immediately it was positive. And so 3 days later, we went and got an ultrasound, and they told me I was 7.5 weeks pregnant. And they told me that I had gotten pregnant the week that they took those tests, that told us that there was no medical way that I could get pregnant. So even the medical doctors were like, this is a miracle. We have no idea how this happened. So we know how it happened. So then a few months later, I was about 19 weeks pregnant, and I had a flare of the pancreatitis. And so I ended up hospitalized for another 2 weeks and had to put in what's called basically an IV that stays in, because I wasn't able to eat or drink at all. And I stayed that way for about a month of my pregnancy, and the baby continued to grow and thrive with no problems regardless. And then I'll let Jason tell, in November, we had a baby shower here at the Hack.
Yeah, so we had a baby shower here in the Hack, and first thing when I walked through that door over there, right off to that back corner, I saw a little red wagon. And this wasn't staged. This was something that Brianna's parents have owned for years, that was tucked away in their barn. We hadn't mentioned the vision of this wagon, but everything came full circle right here in this room.
Amen.
So in the end of December, I started having pain and swelling and headaches, and so I went to the doctor, and they said, you've developed preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure in pregnancy, and said, you're going to the hospital right now to be induced. And I was only 33 weeks. So
how many weeks early then is that?
7 weeks early.
7 weeks early.
Yeah, so off we went. And I tried laboring for 48 hours and never dilated. She wasn't ready, I wasn't ready, so they took me in for a C-section. And Clara Jane was born on January 6th. And she was 6 pounds, 7 ounces, even 7 weeks early.
Amen. Friends, the Lord is King, and He loves to come to the broken. He loves to bring restoration and healing and joy, and He gives us a gospel of love and grace to share with the world. Thank you, too, for sharing. Thank you for being open and for being willing. And the Lord, may the Lord continue to bless you, to bring more healing, and to use your testimony in powerful ways. Amen? Amen.